On. We're just going to hold them. Yes, good morning.
Am I on yet?
We're going to start with singing and, in your case, humming with number 361 in the gray hymnal, and to rejoice and come in. So you may stand or rise if you are able. Right.
Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your ears to the song. Open your ears to the song. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Open your hearts, everyone. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Don't be afraid of some change. You're afraid of some change. Don't be afraid of some change. Today will be a joyful day. Don't be afraid of some change. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Enter, rejoice, and come in. Today will be a joyful day. Enter, rejoice, and come in.
Next is number 346, also in the gray hymnal. Come sing a song with me. In your case, come hum a song with me.
Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me. Come sing a song with me, that I might know your mind. And I'll bring you hope when hope is
Just moving things around. Love is the doctrine of this church.
We care for one another in our times of joys and sorrows. We treat each other respectfully, as we also want to be treated. We practice gentleness and kindness. We celebrate diversity in its many forms. We welcome and support all people.
The quest for truth is its sacrament.
We honor each other's quest for truth. We recognize the sacredness of all beliefs. We listen generously. We support the right of conscience.
And service is its prayer.
We practice compassion and shared ministry within the UUFD and beyond our walls. We live our values as we work for liberty and social justice for all.
To dwell together in peace.
We practice peace in our hearts as well as in the world. We sustain our fellowship as safe, sacred space for all who come to worship. We work out of conflicts. We work our conflicts respectfully. We use the democratic process in our board, staff, and congregational meetings.
To seek knowledge in freedom.
We acknowledge that the strength of the community comes from differing perspectives. We acknowledge that conflict is an opportunity for growth and learning. We use mechanisms and policies for resolving conflict that are consistent, equitable, and transparent.
To serve human need.
We acknowledge that to be seen, heard, and understood is a basic human need. We listen with open hearts and without judgment. We respect the inherent worth and dignity of every person and the interconnected web of all existence of which we are a part. We live our values out loud within our congregation and beyond our walls.
For these high purposes do we unite in worship.
We acknowledge the importance of our mission. Love courageously, inspire spiritual growth, work for justice. We create and sustain a safe, welcoming environment that values diversity of belief, opinion, and different life journeys. We maintain a sacred focus in all of our UUFD relationships. We constantly strive to be respectful of one another's point of view, graceful in our manner of communication, and always act with empathy and understanding of another's ideas. We recognize that this covenant is a promise that we make to one another and binds us together as a beloved community.
Upon adoption, every person in the congregation is authorized to remind each other of our commitment to abide by this covenant. Whenever we find ourselves in an interaction that does not represent the relational grace to which we have agreed.
Good morning. We acknowledge that the land that we gather on as a congregation, where we live, work, and play, was not freely given to us. We gather on the ancestral land of the Nuchu, the Ute, Apache, Pueblo, Hopi, Zuni, and Dene nations. We recognize the indigenous peoples as stewards of this land. As these words are spoken and heard, the ties nations have to their ancestral homelands are renewed and reaffirmed. We acknowledge that our use and benefit from this land came at a dire cost to Native nations and peoples whose land we now inhabit. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Durango. My name is Mary Oken, and I am pleased to serve as your volunteer worship associate today. I'm also a member of this church. Joining me in leading today's service were Cheryl Guy and Elizabeth Crawford leading our songs, our contemporary pianist Lawrence Nass, James Mirabal, our tech director, Shannon Beaver is our Zoom host remotely today. Our greeters are Nancy Burpee and Tom McCampbell, and we are grateful for our faith formation teachers. Also presenting today's message are the members of the Healthy Congregation Committee. Jim Brooks serves as our chalice lighter today. Mary Hockett will do the reading. Kathleen Adams will read our story. Sherrod Beal will provide a broader introduction to the Healthy Congregation Committee. And Lori Meininger will present today's homily. As a little bit of background, the UUFD board established a set of guidelines put forth in the Charter for Healthy Congregation Committee. These guidelines were approved by the board in 2019. Members of the Healthy Congregation Committee were then appointed by the board, and after several delays due to COVID, they began meeting about 8 months ago. The Healthy Congregation Committee will be introducing the work they have fashioned this far toward fostering healthy communication within the congregation. The draft of this relational covenant that we just heard during our call to worship is one of these efforts. Our updated guidelines for attending in-person service help us provide a safe environment, especially during this difficult time. Thank you to everyone for respecting these guidelines. Fully vaccinated people 12 years or older and children regardless of vaccination are welcome to attend in person. We all wear N95 or surgical masks. We provide distance seating in the mezzanine in the back. Children will remain with parents until the faith formation class begins. And we hum rather than sing aloud. And we use gestures of respect and that during share the peace. We have made N95 masks available for anyone who needs one in the back of the sanctuary. And we will continue to offer live and recorded Zoom services as well and encourage unvaccinated people, those who have immunocompromised systems, or those who simply may feel more comfortable to attend online to protect themselves and others. We will have social time on the patio after the service today, and for those who are attending in person, and those attending in Zoom can also attend a breakout session after the service. And then at 11:30, we're invited back here to have a reflection with our guest speakers. As we welcome everyone to this service, we extend a special welcome to any first-time guests. If you came to join us today, whether in person or online, we hope to get the chance to get to know you. And if you're new to the fellowship, please note that information is available back at the welcome station. Guest cards are also on the back of the chair racks. And if you'd like to add your name to our contact list, you can put your name on one of those cards, put it in the collection box or the collection basket, or drop it at the welcome station. If you're attending online, you can also add, you'll see a link in the digital guest book that you can sign to also be placed on our communication list. The Unitarian Universalist Fellowship of Durango is a member of the Unitarian Universalist Association of Congregations. We are a people of diverse ages, beliefs, and backgrounds. However, we affirm 7 principles as strong values and moral guides. These principles affirm the worth and dignity of every person, the importance of justice, compassion, acceptance for all, and the responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of consciousness, and recognition of our interdependent web of existence. We live out of these principles within a living tradition of wisdom and spirituality, drawing from sources as diverse as science, poetry, scripture, and personal experience. We're a welcoming congregation. All people of goodwill are welcome here. Whatever your gender, identification, or expression, ethnicity, immigration status, economic class, or sexual orientation, we offer you a non-judgmental religious home in which to cultivate your own conscience. If you'll now rise with me as we light our chalice, as Jim goes to light our chalice, I invite you to rise as you feel comfortable to speak aloud our affirmation. These words are printed in your bulletin or in the chat line. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve human need, for these high purposes do we unite in worship. Please offer a greeting of welcome to anyone near you. And, fist bumps or bows are welcome, and you can also do so online. Bump, 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 bump.
Good morning.
Morning. Hi.
Good morning.
Can I say hi?
I love your glasses, Mary.
Mary.
I think it's ironic how we all got so coordinated color-wise.
Morning, everyone. How nice to see who we can see.
Got a full page here on my computer.
Mm.
Morning. The reading this morning is from the book called Spilling the Light, Meditations on Hope and Resilience by Teresa Soto. Some people are used to keeping rules. Don't cross the street when the light is red, only sensible. It turns out that keeping rules is not the same as keeping covenant, which asks us, instead of keeping a bright line, to keep our promises. To what have we promised ourselves? To this moment and time and place, to this community, and even tenderly interconnected this planet. We promise ourselves to the idea that we are each and all human beings. We promise there is something moving between us that we cannot tame and cannot measure. The chalice is a reminder that what flame we keep inside us cannot light the way. The light must spill to shine.
like to invite the children up for a story. And anyone else who's feeling like they want to come sit on the floor in their youth. Thanks for coming up. So, bright eyes and bushy tails this morning here, it looks to me like. So today, we're talking about promises that we keep with each other. Another word for that is making covenants. And to start with, I want to know if you all know the name of our religion, of our spiritual pathway. It starts with a U, and it is Unitarian Universalism. And we already have 7 principles, which Mary read this morning, about how we behave together and what we believe in. And I have a book about promises, but I have a tiny book to just quickly review those 7 principles in a different language, or not a different language, but a different level of language. And this little book is all about Unitarian Universalism. So number 1, we believe that each and every person is important. We believe that all people should be treated fairly. So how about, let's start again. Give me a thumbs up if you're comfortable doing that, and if you feel like that's something that you can agree with. And you don't have to do that if you don't want to. We believe that each and every person is important. We believe that all people should be treated fairly. We believe that our churches are places where all people are accepted and where we keep on learning together. We believe that each person must be free to search for the truth and the right things in life. We believe that all people should have a voice and vote about things that concern them, and about everything, actually, I believe. We believe that we should work for a peaceful, fair, and free world. And the last one, we believe that we should care for our planet Earth. So those are things that Unitarian Universalists agree about all over the world. Now there's a person that you may or may not know about named Lebron James. I have to admit, I didn't know this guy. That says a lot about my interests. But I admit it. So I'm not going to ask who else doesn't know. That wouldn't be fair. But he's a basketball player, and he won a gold medal in the Olympics at some point as part of his team, I believe. So this is a book about promises by Lebron James. And we'll see if you notice anything in this book that's the same as what we just read. I promise to work hard and do what's right, to be a leader in the game of life. Is that something you could agree with? I promise to go to school and read as much as I can. I see a little bit of wavering there. To follow the rules and respect the game plan. Okay. I promise to be open and try new things. That's pretty important. And enjoy the happy that change can bring. To enjoy the happy that change can bring. I promise to wear a big smile and use kindness when I speak. To remain strong yet humble with every win and every defeat. Not only on the sports field, right? I promise to ask questions and to find answers. That's one of our really important principles that I read before. to believe next time, to believe in the next time and second chances. We all make mistakes. Who was it that said that? The Cookie Monster or Big Bird or one of those people, one of those puppets? I promise to use my voice and stand up for what's right. And when things get tough, to keep up the fight. I promise to respect my elders and peers the same, to leave new places better than I came. You all know what a peer is? A friend? Classmate? Yep. People that are similar to your age and going through life in the same way you are. I promise to cross bridges and break walls down. Bridges are not just a bridge, but to get from one place in life to the next. To rise with the sun and learn from the falls. We all do that. We all go up and down and up and down. I promise to be courageous, to be free, and to strive for greatness. Yeah. I promise, most importantly, to be me. So that's you, Lebron James, me, lots of other people, and it looked like I saw a fair number of thumbs up. Thank you. You can go off to your classrooms, and those on Zoom can tune into the Zoom children's spot. Thank you.
LeBron James. Welcome, everyone. My name is Sherrod Beal, and I am chair of the Healthy Congregation Committee, otherwise known as the HCC. We are here today to introduce the relational covenant, which Lori will talk about more in depth. But I wanted to give a brief overview of the HCC for those who are still wondering what we do and what we're going to do. The Healthy Congregation Committees are common in Unitarian Universalist churches across the country. The charter for our committee, as Mary mentioned, which outlines what we're supposed to do, was signed in September of 2019, but initiation was delayed by the pandemic. So since June 2021, 8 months ago, we have been meeting every 2 weeks because there is a lot to be done, and we feel it's important. The purpose of the HCC is to restore right relationship within the congregation by being a resource for promoting and facilitating open, respectful, and productive communication within the fellowship in the spirit of our mission and our relational covenant. We have a mission, but had no covenant until today. The guiding philosophy of our work is family systems theory. It's a theory of human behavior that views the family or the congregation as an emotionally complex, interconnected, and interrelated system. When there is an issue, we need to focus on the whole family rather than on one person or one problem, because we are all affected. We also believe that listening is vital to understanding. So the three main tasks of the HCC are: one, to develop a relational covenant, to develop processes that promote healthy communication, active listening, and conflict resolution, and three, provide ongoing education to the congregation.
Thank you, Sharon. I want to start by thanking Reverend Katie for
asking the Healthy Congregation Committee to host the service this morning and to not only talk about the what of our work, but the how and the why. Like many UU and other faith communities that have a Healthy Congregation Committee, the creation of our Healthy Congregation Committee, or as Sherrod just mentioned, how we refer to ourselves as the HCC, came out of this fellowship's commitment to be an inclusive community and to love courageously, affirming that our differences in beliefs, opinions, and life experiences inspire spiritual growth and empower all of us. To do that, the HCC was formed, as we've said, in late spring of this year with members of the congregation, and we all serve 2-year terms representing the diversity of our fellowship. While we're very aware that the idea of the HCC has been in the making for quite some time, and some of you have expressed your thought that it is long overdue, I think most of us will agree that the inauguration of this committee is indeed timely. We are excited and honored to be hosting this service today. So as Sherrod mentioned, our charter instructs us to be a resource for promoting and facilitating open, respectful, productive communication, restoring right relationships, and addressing conflicts in our congregation in the spirit of our mission. Simply put, our task is to help us learn to speak with each other directly and honestly from a position of respect, kindness, and love, recognizing that conflict can present opportunities for deeper relationship. By its very nature, the work of the HCC looks at the whole of our congregation and asks, how are we individually and collectively leaning into the principles and promises that we make to ourselves and one another? To answer that question or those questions, the first task, as we've mentioned, is taken on drafting a relational covenant for consideration by this fellowship as a way of living into our relationships through our covenant. It is part of our charter, and it is what you heard us speak as our call to worship this morning. A relational covenant is the commitment we make to one another, and I have to say, Kathleen, I appreciate you simplifying that with the kids' version of our principles. And Lebron James's very simple idea of I promise. So a covenant expresses our promise for how we want to be in relationship with each other so that we can nurture and sustain loving community within our congregation and in the larger world. These promises are at the very heart of our faith tradition. And as Kathleen mentioned, right along with the 7 principles of Unitarian Universalism. The spiritual energy of this faith community is fueled by the way we approach, connect with, respect, and treat each other. It is about loving relationships that strive to honor the integrity of each person. Now, we know that for most of you, the words we spoke this morning in the call to worship are brand new. And we're not expecting you to have remembered them or if even really thought much about them yet. But at the end of the service this morning, we'll be handing out copies of the draft relational covenant, both in person and on Zoom. And we invite anyone interested in discussing it to join us during the reflection period that will start at 11:30. We hope that you will seriously consider the draft. Think about what really leaning into our covenant means to you and participate in finalizing the covenant. And to do that, we'll be hosting opportunities for providing feedback on the draft over the next several weeks and genuinely want your thoughts. And save the date, we are planning a congregation-wide gathering in February to come together to adopt the covenant and to begin our work to integrate it into the life of this congregation. And we'll be sharing more about that just after the new year. So in the calendar of UUA, each month has a theme, and the theme for the month of November is holding history, which I think is kind of interesting to contemplate considering there's so much change in our midst. We find ourselves at a time that sometimes seems to be equal parts cruelty and confusion. Many of us are facing challenges that can be stressful, overwhelming, and cause strong emotions. Attention to public health is evidenced by the fact that we're now wearing N95 masks to come together, means that that's become part of our day-to-day. And how we view and maintain our relationships has changed too. And we face an unknown future as this congregation transitions following Reverend Katie's retirement. I have a good friend back from the days of the Foreign Service who would jokingly say when it felt pretty tough, said, "Some days just feel like we're all doomed." But while the circumstances may feel traumatic right now, change and the resilience and growth that comes with it are not new to this fellowship. So let's consider just the past 15 years. In that time, we've purchased this building and expanded to this campus. Our membership continues to grow, and we have professional staff that has come on board to help us manage our growth. We've experienced the process of calling a settled minister into our midst, and will now have a chance again to put in place a new vision and set a new intention as we prepare to call another minister into our fellowship. We've expanded our faith formation into lifespan education, and our growth has created opportunities for shared ministry in ways that we never imagined, and new models of governance. And like this morning, where we have our Zoom host remotely from us, we continue to find creative ways to make technology work for us to expand our reach beyond these walls. And our social justice and outreach work is increasingly reflective of the times we live in and the broader community that we're a part of. We have widened our circle of love. Holding history in perspective, our congregational history included, has many gifts to offer us. It can bring us data, insight, and wisdom. It can remind us of our resilience and strength, and learning from it may help us avoid repeating the unwelcome parts of the past. Some of us have been part of this fellowship for decades, while others of us share just a few months of this fellowship. And no matter how long we've been here, one thing is true. Over the lifetime of this fellowship, members and friends have repeatedly demonstrated their resilience, determination, and hope for a better future. Generous contributions of time, talent, and treasure have been made and continue to be made because of the values we share and because of our desire to forge a future based on these values. We're in community together because we believe in these values, in love, in spiritual growth, in service, in justice, in seeking truth, and in dwelling together in peace. For these high purposes do we unite in worship. It's our covenant. It's our social contract. It's how we connect. It's our promise to each other. And it's these values that allow us to come together and grow, and that created the Healthy Congregation Committee, the Relational Covenant, and the listening circles, where we generously listen to one another, share our concerns, express how we're feeling, and have a real chance to be heard. So as a kid, I had this funny thing that I did with my grandmother. There was never a space for boredom, a word that she prohibited. And whenever something loomed, she said, well, just spend a couple minutes at the dictionary. So as a kid, I grew up with a lot of time in the dictionary. So in starting to do this work and starting to prepare for the listening circles, I turned to Webster's, where the following references are listed under the word listen. Number 1, to pay attention to someone or something in order to hear what is being said, sung, played, etc. And number 2, to hear what someone has said and understand that it is serious, important, or true. Theologian Paul Tillich tells us the first duty of love is to listen. And Chickasaw Nation elder Sakej Henderson reminds us to truly listen is to risk being changed forever. It's been said that people begin to heal the moment they feel heard. So I'd like us to take a couple moments to just reflect on that in our own lives. So please close your eyes and take a deep breath. Think about a time when you have been really heard. How did you feel? So please open your eyes and turn to a person sitting close to you and share just one word to complete this sentence. When I am heard, I feel. When we are heard, we feel loved and respected. Listening is an act of service, and I don't mean just in the listening circles. To listen generously is an act of love in action. It is an authentic connection. And I think that you would agree that to be seen, heard, and understood is a basic human need. It's why it's part of our covenant. To be really heard is a gift. I know that when I'm heard, I feel hope. And in this community, we hold hope close. We don't always know what's coming next, and that doesn't dissuade us. We don't always know what to do, but that doesn't mean that we're lost. We rely on the certainty beneath the chaos, the foundation of our values and ethics. We return to love like a North Star, and to the truth that we are greater together than we are alone, and that our differences make us stronger. Our hope does not live in some glimmer of a distant future. It's in each one of us, each time we speak our covenant aloud. We know the way to the world of which we dream by covenant, and one right action after the next. We know that we're moving toward it through listening, through love. That is our promise to each other. So come back at 11:30 and let's explore more about this. May it be so. Blessed be.
The words for our offering today come from a prayer for 1,000 years, blessings and expressions of hope for the new millennium. It's an edited book by Elizabeth Roberts and Elias Amadan. These words specifically are from J. McDaniel, a professor of process theology and world religions at Hendrix College. In this century, and in any century, our deepest hope, our most tender prayer is that we learn to listen. May we listen to one another in openness and mercy. May we listen to plants and animals in wonder and respect. May we listen to our own hearts in love and forgiveness. May we listen to God in quietness and in awe. And in this listening, which is boundless in its beauty, may we find the wisdom to cooperate with a healing spirit, a divine spirit who beckons us into peace and community and creativity. We do not ask for a perfect world, but we do ask for a better world. We ask for deep listening. May we listen to our hearts in love. May we find wisdom to cooperate, and may we seek for, find a better world through our shared efforts. Through this, there are 4 ways you can give, and my screen just jumped on me, pardon me. There are 4 ways to give. The one obvious one for you in person is to give in the basket. You can also mail a check to the church. The address is in the chat line for those online. You can go to our website to the Donate tab and reach for the Donate Now button and do that there. And there's also instructions there on how to text and give. That's my favorite way. It's just real easy to text to the same number every week. And for those attending in person, you can, like I said, place your donations in the basket, and the ushers will now come forward to accept your offerings.
All my love come down. All my love come tumbling down. All my love come tumbling down. All my love come tumbling down. Oh, listen, listen to the lion. Oh, listen, listen, listen to the lion. search my very soul. I shall search my very soul. I shall search my very soul. For the lion, for the lion, for the lion, for the lion, for the lion inside of me. And all my tears have flown. All my tears like water flown. And all my tears like water flown. All my tears like water flown. For the lion, for the lion, for the lion, for the lion inside of me. Listen to the lion. Listen, listen, listen to the lion. Won't you listen? Listen to the lion.
Thank you. Your gifts are gratefully received for all we do here.
We're going to close with number 311 in the gray hymnal, Let It Be a Dance. Feel free to dance, hum, whatever, and rise if you're able, please. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you. The good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let our dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words. And to the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to
Let the sunshine, let it shine. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Cha-cha-cha.
Woo!
As Jim extinguishes our chalice, we'll hear the benediction.
The light must spill to shine. The thing you must be is yourself, the unadulterated, shedding the willingness to journey alone as though you are made of something hard and unforgivable. You are human. You belong right here, right now. And together we will chase away the sickness, the secrets, and leave only the open possibility that the future is a space for growth. Dance on.